Before we hop into today's episode, I want to give a trigger warning that we do talk about suicide and some tough mental health topics. I know that can be distressing for some people, and that's okay. If you need to skip today's episode, know that it's all right to take care of yourself first. If you need resources or support, go to 988lifeline.org or dial 988 to call the 24/7 free and confidential hotline. Please look after yourself. Hello, and welcome to Here We Are, the mindful podcast for millennials, where it's all about remembering where we've been, knowing where we're going, and taking up space in the present through the art of storytelling. I'm your host, Teka, and I'll tie together the practice of presence and life lessons with faith and mental health nuggets too. Whether sharing my own experiences or featuring a special guest, I hope to inspire you to take control of your story and take control of your life. I hope you receive what you need from today's episode. And remember to check out the show notes in the description for links that I reference. Ready? Let's journey. All right, good people. So today we have a very special guest, very special to me, but of course a special guest for the podcast. This is my oldest best friend. His name is Norman Frasier. Hi, Norman.
Hello, what's going on, Teka? Hello.
Hey. Okay, so first of all, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from El Paso, Texas, almost Mexico.
Okay. Almost Mexico. Well, right on the border.
Right on the border.
Oh. Well, I'm excited you can make time to join the podcast.
Excited to be here.
Yay. So I strong-armed him into doing this. No, I'm just kidding. He was willing to do this with me. But before we hop into the podcast, I want to give you a chance, Norman, to tell everybody how we know each other. I want to hear your version of the story because I tell a version to people, but I want to hear your version of the story.
I've known Teka since 2002. 21 years.
Dang, not you know in the year.
21 years. Lived down the street from each other, went to middle school together, high school. She went off to college first. I went off. Then we're doing life. Still communicating as much as we can, but life's, but
I know.
Still love her to death.
Oh, I love you too. Yes, y'all. 21 years. That's crazy because I didn't remember the year. I didn't even think in years. But yes, we've known each other since middle school. So we've gone through a lot of seasons in our lives, whether together or apart, had a lot of different experiences that I think I could say for me have definitely probably changed or contributed to the woman that I am today. And I'm sure you could say the same.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I definitely want to talk about that. Whether it's an experience that, I don't know about, so that'll be interesting to hear, or something that, we've talked about before, but just from a different perspective. But in order to kind of tell your story, I first want to know the title of the book about your life. So if you could title a book about your life, we're about to have it in Barnes and Nobles, it's going to be on Amazon. What would the title be?
All right. Mine would be the 3 C's of life: choices, chances, and changes.
Okay. And it'll be that the 3 C's of life.
Yeah.
Choices, chances, and changes.
Yes.
All right. Tell me why. Why those 3?
Okay, so in my life, I made a lot of poor choices in the beginning that could have led to my demise. When I went off to school, I was given ample chances and opportunities to fix that, and now that I've made those, was afforded those chances, I'm using it to change myself and be a better man.
Okay, so even no matter what choice you made, you feel like you were given a chance so that you can change.
Yes, favor ain't fair.
So
Favor ain't fair.
It ain't, because I know I'm God's favorite. So
you hear me? Favor ain't fair. That grace is the thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, it really is. So tell me, within all of those experiences, so you talked a little bit about school, And I know school is majority of our lives. Both of us have multiple degrees, which I'm very proud of you for. And so we've had a lot of different academic experiences. But I wonder what would be a chapter in your book that you're like, if anyone picks up my books and is just kind of thumbing through it in the bookstore, they have to read this chapter
All
because
right.
this is a lesson they need to learn.
So this chapter is gonna be called "The End" with 3 periods, and it's gonna say "almost." So
Okay.
it's gonna be about my failed suicide attempt.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would probably be the most powerful chapter, and the one that
Mm-hmm.
really brought stuff to perspective for me, showing me like I really do have a purpose. Because I
Yeah.
swear to you, I'm not supposed to be here. Like I just said earlier, favor ain't fair. I really woke
Mm.
up mad, like in the hospital, like why am I still here? But then I thought about it, seeing my mom laying on the hospital bed next to me, the little guest
Mm-hmm.
chairs, and then 3 of my
Mm-hmm.
closest friends on the ground in pallets, like while I'm
Mm.
strapped to all type of stuff, due to renal failure, due to all the pills and um poisons I into trying to attempt suicide
Yeah.
that night. Yeah, so that would be probably that chapter because it's gonna be that's where the shift comes, the change comes because I start seeing all the issues I was having coming to light to me, like a
Yeah.
mirror. That was a real life mirror in my face, like, oh shoot. I could have
Yeah.
affected all these people doing this, but favor ain't fair. His grace covered me and I'm still here. Doing all right
Grace
too. I'm
and
doing all
mercy.
right. Doing all right.
All right. You doing all right. So one thing I want to acknowledge and just kind of make sure that I put a pin in is that you're the second male that I've had or man that I've had on the podcast. And both of them have been about mental health. So this feels very aligned, but I'm very proud to know that this is a space where Black men can feel like they can talk about their mental health. Because I didn't know that this was going to be the chapter he was going to share, y'all. I'm coming into this blind just like y'all. Like, okay, so what we going to talk about? We going to talk about parties. We going to talk about, a time when I got into an almost fight at school. Like, what we going to talk about?
That,
But
plenty of those
this is,
chapters, but this is
I
this
know,
is
right?
my this is the chapter.
We going to skip them chapters. So this is an important topic, and I think that you and I have talked about it a little bit. We talked about it around the time it happened, but I don't think we've talked about it in detail, like real detail. So as comfortable as you are going in terms of deep and vulnerability, what was it that you feel led to that point?
The spirit of comparison is the thief of joy. So I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
Grades were crappy because I chose the party lifestyle. I chose going out, doing
Mm-hmm.
this, doing whatever. So I wasn't focused on school.
Mm-hmm.
My wife now, my girlfriend then, fiance, she ended up graduating, doing what she was supposed to do. She did everything she was supposed to do. Went and got her. She was an RN. You graduated, so everybody around me was graduating, but I was making poor
Yeah.
decisions. I ended up going to. I was in ROTC at the time, and we
Mm-hmm.
went to JBLM for an advanced camp. Did
Mm-hmm.
great at advanced camp because of my GPA. I got assessed reserves, National Guard. My whole purpose of
Mm-hmm.
going to school was to commission as an officer, active duty officer. So after that,
Mm-hmm.
like my whole life was really shook because like when I'm gonna tell my parents because I was so big on because my dad's retired CW5, my mom's retired CW4. I was so big on I can't embarrass anybody. My
Can't
wife's
let them
her parents,
down.
her dad's a retired first sergeant, so I was like I can't let them down. I don't want anybody like looking down on me. So I was really like a lot of pressures of being comparing myself to others and like wanting to make trying to people please. So I was like, you know what,
Mm,
I can't keep doing this like in myself. Like it was a lot of pressure on me mentally
yeah.
because I was like, dang man, I really fell off track and I can't get back on track right now. Like I really thought it was the end of the world. Mind you, I was young. So this
Yeah.
what 2012 I want to say,
See?
2013. I was young and
Mm-hmm.
in your mind at that time you're not as resilient as you should be because you're still thinking everything is just catastrophized in that moment.
Yeah.
So I threw a big party that day, that night. I already knew what I was gonna do. I went and got all the pills, went and got all the sleeping pills, I got rat poison, I got all type of stuff. I was like, I'm gonna do it tonight. Had a party that day. Cause I was like, I had all my friends over. I was still in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Had all my friends over. We returned. I was like, after the party, I'm gonna do it. Everybody left. I passed out drunk. So I didn't do it. So I woke up the next morning like, oh man, I ain't do it. I was supposed to do it last night. So that morning, I just started taking the pills. Boom. Bottle. The sleeping pills. Bottle. Boom. I took like 4 bottles of sleeping pills. A bunch of NyQuil. And then I tried the rat poison, but it was so nasty. I was like, I spit it out. I couldn't do it.
Good.
So I laid back down because I was hungover. I was like, I lay back down. Me and my cousin lived together. We were housemates at the time. He didn't think nothing of it. I was in the room all day. So clearly I slept that whole day. Didn't get up, didn't go to the bathroom or anything. So this is the crazy part. And when I tell my mom this, when I told my mom this, she was just like, that's because she's big in faith and spirituality.
Right.
I swear, no exaggeration, no nothing. It was like, mind you, I've never met my grandmother or my granddad died when I was young, but they were like, get up, get ready for church. So I was trying to get up. Mind you, all the toxins in my bodies. I got up. Back then I was cheap. I had an air mattress. So I'm trying to get out the air mattress and fell into the mirror. That's the last thing I really remember. Fell into the mirror because I had a tall stand-up mirror in my room. Fell into the mirror. So my cousin, he trying to get in the door. He couldn't get in. So this is coming from their point of view now because I'm out of it. I'm incoherent.
Because they heard, so they heard the glass, they heard the shatter,
That's the
the
only thing
boom.
that got their
Okay.
attention. So he heard the glass shatter. He went to go get my other friend Jabril. So Jabril and them, they're trying to get in the room. They ended up picking into the room. So they say I'm looking like I don't know if you've seen New Jack City Pookie. They said I was just sitting on the bed, eyes going side to side, real bug, shoes off. They didn't know what to do, so they go up the street to go get my other close friends. So Philip Berg, Terrence McKenzie, and Javon
Yeah.
Briggs. They were all at the house. They like, hey, something's wrong with him. Hey,
Yeah.
something's wrong with him. So Burke and all them come to the house. They come in the room. They're like, how long has he been like this? Has he been in the room all day? They're like, yeah. Mind you, Paris has been blowing me up all day too, cause she's like, "Why ain't I heard from my man all day?" But I'm
Yeah.
incoherent, so she don't know what's going on. Mind you, she's in school at this point still. No, she's in her finals. She's doing her finals, so she knows nothing that's going on.
Wow.
She's in Virginia, so all this is
Yeah.
going on. They eventually, Terrence and Burt and Briggs were like, "Hey, he needs to go to the hospital. He needs to go to the
Yeah.
hospital." They they pick me up. Terrence picks me up. He says I was squirming out his hands, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. I'm in the hospital, no shoes, no nothing. They just threw me in the car. So they threw me
As
in the
they
car.
should. Because at this point, they don't know what's happening, and it
Nobody
is a
knows
matter of life or
exactly because
death.
I'm incoherent. Exactly.
Jesus.
So when they said in the hospital, I I couldn't get my social because I didn't know it. So it was just unknown. So they ended up calling. They had to call my mom. So my mom, mind you, my mom's in Virginia during this.
Right.
Mind you, I
Right.
said when I woke up, she was right there
And
in the
you're in South Carolina.
yes. So
Okay.
7 hours. They call in the middle of the night. She says, I'm on my way. She starts coming. She doesn't tell Paris because Paris in her finals. My mom was also in her master's program as well in her finals. So she paused what she was doing, stopped what she did, and got on the road. Boom.
Of
So when I
course.
woke up, came to, I was just looking around dang, I'm here. I was really mad. Am I here? I'm still here. I had to feel myself I'm still here. I look over, I see my mom. My mom here. She's asleep. Look on the ground because I see people on the floor. I'm like, hey,
Feet and
Bert,
stuff.
Terrence,
Yeah.
Briggs, they on the floor around my bed. They made sure my mom ate. They took care of me. My mom, she did all that driving. It was crazy. That whole time, I was just sitting in the bed, what have I done? Because then I could see people cared, and I knew people cared. I never was raised in a bad home or not a loving
Right.
home. It was just the
Right.
pressures, that I
Yeah.
let get the best of me. So I'm looking around and I just started thinking. That's when I started thinking dang, I really did this. This is crazy. I really
Yeah.
tried this. Doctor comes in. The doctor was just they didn't know what was wrong with me. because
Right.
nobody knew until I
Nobody
went
knew
through.
what had happened, why it
Yeah,
had happened.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they just thought I was sick or I had a bad drink or something. So
Mm,
they're like, yeah, he was close to renal failure. Like all my major organs were shutting down. If I wouldn't have been
Jesus.
took to the hospital, a few hours later, I would have died. So that's when
Oh
I was
my God.
like, dang, that's crazy. Like hearing it was crazy, but I still like my mind. I was like in and out. I could hear it. I remember this vividly, but it was like in and out because I
Mm-hmm.
kept getting headaches. Like, dang,
Mm-hmm.
got a headache.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up because Paris happened to call again, but my mom was there, so she answered. And she's just like, yeah, he's in hospital. She's like, what? Because she's mad, and she's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, he in hospital. Why didn't nobody tell me? Because they didn't want to tell her because she was in her finals, didn't want to distract her.
Right.
But it was, yeah,
Right.
that was a crazy time. Crazy time.
Okay. So I have to take a beat because you said a couple things. You said a lot. First of all, thank you for sharing that in detail. Like, first, how did that even feel just now to recall it? Like, when's the last time you've even talked about this?
So, the last time I spoke about it like publicly was like right before COVID at for Youth Challenge Academy in DC. So like at
Okay.
first I wouldn't tell nobody about it. I was ashamed of it. But now it's like
Hmm.
my story can save somebody. You know, it's like it's not that bad. Like
Can
it's not that
and
bad.
will
I
and
don't
probably
mind sharing it.
has.
I don't mind sharing it now. Like at one point I wouldn't even talk about it. But I don't mind sharing it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you shared it because it can, you're right, your story can help someone change or even save their life. So I want to go back really quick because I think some people think that in order for you to feel depressed or in order for you to even contemplate suicide, you have to be going through something so traumatic, devastating, terrible, egregious. It's like it has to be very sensationalized as far as what like movies and stuff make it, right? But a lot of times those who are seriously contemplating suicide, it's very subtle. Very subtle. Like you said, you threw a party the night before.
Yeah,
So people may not have even known,
not at
right?
all.
And you
Not at
probably
all.
didn't even tell anyone because you did not want the help. You didn't want anyone to intervene.
Correct.
And so all of that was a result of what you shared. You felt the pressure. You felt like you were comparing yourself, and there's a lot of pressure to kind of live up to some sort of expectation, right? To not disappoint your parents, not disappoint your girlfriend at the time, not disappoint your friends, because you knew, okay, I've already messed up for umpteen years or, a couple of years now in college. I'm in ROTC. I'm supposed to be graduating, be commissioned, like all this stuff, and it's being delayed.
Yes.
And so because what you were supposed to do was being delayed based on your choices, right? Now you're experiencing both the consequences, but also you're experiencing those regret. That's
Yes.
what it sounds like regret for choices, right? And I don't think a lot of people talk about the fact that people pleasing or, feeling like comparison or feeling this unrelenting pressure
Hmm.
can lead to those type of feelings as well. Especially you shared, like you grew up in a nice neighborhood, went to nice schools, your parents are both in the military, government, your girlfriend's family, your dad was in the military, my parents working in hospitals and government, like everyone kind of grew up in these certain environments. And that was kind of like the norm in our neighborhood. But that didn't mean that we were without any type of problems or issues.
Yes.
And I'm curious if even before you got to college, like, did anyone talk to you or ask you questions about like how you were feeling? Like, I know a lot of times especially for Black men and Black boys, there's a lot of, oh, like he's just in sports or he doing this or he's, in ROTC, he's getting good grades, whatever. But I don't know, did anyone even ask you, like, how are you feeling? Like, what's going on with your heart? Like, how are your emotions? What are you thinking
No.
about?
No, that wasn't even a thought back then. That wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
Like even if it was a thought, like if my parents were, I was so quick to rush them off the phone to where
Mm-hmm.
I was so quick to rush him off the phone to where it to go party to where it wouldn't really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give him that opportunity to ask that. Like, cause I was,
Yeah.
oh, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Grades good. Knowing I'm
Mm-hmm.
failing class, you know.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned something too, like you felt shame, not only after the attempt, but even before, right? So you didn't even want to tell the truth.
Nah,
One,
not
because
about
you felt shame and you were coping with partying. So you were like, even if I do tell them what's going on, I don't even know how to fix it right now. So I'm just go ahead and party. I'm gonna do whatever.
exactly, exactly,
Yeah. So another thing you mentioned was during the time after you had woke up because you had passed out drunk. So I feel like that was the first mercy moment where even though it wasn't healthy, it was helping you in that moment for you to have passed out hungover because then you didn't have a chance to try it that first time.
exactly,
And I wonder what would have happened if you did because everyone probably would have been asleep.
exactly, exactly.
So that was definitely a mercy moment. And I feel like God, I know you said you felt like in that moment, like, I don't have no like purpose. I don't know what's going on. Everybody around me is achieving. But I feel like that was like a moment where God was probably like, you do. And I know you feel like you don't. And you look like you feel like it's real gloom and doom right now. But there is something else on the other side of all of these experiences. And so after that first mercy moment, it's funny how we are as God's kids. We think that our way is the best way of handling situations. And so as soon as you woke up, you were like, crap, I didn't even do it. All right, well, let me do it now. Did
That's
you
exactly
ever
what it is.
like think like actually, did you ever hesitate in that moment? Do you remember hesitating at all?
No, because my mind was set on this. Like I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So when I woke,
Mm,
like I said, when I woke, I was like, dang, because I didn't want to do it in a coherent state. I wanted to do it drunk. That's why the whole purpose of the party. I was like, when everybody leave, I'll do it and I'll go to sleep.
mm-hmm.
So doing it sober was like, you could say I hesitated because, like I said, even if I was drunk, probably the rap poison probably wouldn't even taste it like nothing, you know. But because I
Yeah.
was sober, it was just like thinking about everything. I was taking all, like choking on the pills, but I was just trying to get it over with.
Mm, mm-hmm. I'm glad that that rat poison tastes nasty and that she didn't take that either because that's like actual like poison, like deadly. So, all right, mercy moment number two. Um, I don't know if you know like the time frame between like when you passed out. You had went to sleep after taking all the pills, and then you said you remember growing up, your grandparents were always like, "Get up, it's time to go to church."
No, that's the crazy part. No, it's never like they've never
Oh, they were
said
never like that.
like
So then, where did
I've
that come
never
from?
I don't know, but like I could envision like the picture of I've never met my grandmother. She passed away before I was born. I met
Oh, so
like
you're
the
saying you
picture.
pictured their
Yeah,
faces.
saying get up.
You know how they say like everybody got a praying grandmother? Listen, the fact that she passed before you were born, but that was still the face that you saw in that
Only the
moment
picture from the pictures. That's it.
from the pictures, right? I would be, and I'm sure God will back me up, but I'm like 99.98% sure she was probably praying for you before you were even a thought. You know, like grandmothers just be knowing. They just be knowing. So I feel like that's, and I keep saying mercy moment, but I feel like that is like, because mercy is basically you not getting what you think you deserve, right? And grace is getting basically what you didn't earn. And so the fact that you saw their faces, why did that prompt you to get up?
Cause they're saying get up,
Do
get
you
ready
know?
for church. I don't. I just got up. I was trying to get out the bed, like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I was back in Virginia because it's my room in Virginia that I was thinking of. So I'm trying to just
Mm,
get out the bed, but it's a air bed, so it's you know the deflation. So,
struggling.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
the incoherentness, and then like I took a couple steps
You
and
just,
crashed right into the mirror. Like when I came back to the room, like they tried to clean up, but you could still see like the mirror, like blood on the mirror still from like because I had cut myself up in that mirror because I crashed right into it
mm-hmm.
and just laying on the
Mm-hmm.
ground.
So after that, so that's, what is that? That's number 4. The fact that you crashed into that mirror, because that now alerted your cousin. Who is this? Paul?
Yeah, Paul.
So this alerting your cousin, something's going on, something's not right. Now, one thing that I love is that you were able to name basically like your tribe, like your support system, your brothers, all who were called and like rushed over to come and see about you. And I feel like that's really important piece to note, because a lot of times, even if you feel like you don't have anybody who cares about you, you do. And when it is time, they will show up.
Yeah.
And so that was like, how many people you said? So it was Paul, Jabril, Burke, Terrence. Who else?
Bert, Terrence, Briggs.
Briggs. So 5 people. And so they stuffed you in the car and took you to the hospital. Next thing they did was who called your mom? The doctors? Because at that point, you're a John Doe.
Terrence.
Well, then they're not a John Doe. They knew you who you were. They knew you were Norman.
One of them.
One of them called your mom.
Yeah.
When, I'm sure she probably was going 90 miles per hour. When you woke up and saw her, like, what was your first thought?
Shame first. First, when I seen her, like after the "I'm still here," it was more so like shame, like, dang, like, now,
Yeah.
because they didn't. It was shame and internal, because they didn't know what happened. Still, they don't know what happened till after the fact. I tell them after the fact.
Right.
But like, it was shame, like, dang, I done had my mom get up in the middle of the night and drive 7 hours all the way down here during her final.
Because you are her child.
Yeah.
And she will do it. But I know, and I can understand in that moment, it's like you start to feel bad. How long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital like 3-4 days. Like, they didn't know they gave me a spinal tap. They gave me all type of stuff because they didn't know what was wrong with me. Nobody knew what was wrong with me.
Did you tell them what you did?
No. I told the doctor.
So at this
dehydration.
Norman.
Dehydration to this day.
Woof. So this is a random point, but one of the things they say that keeps comparison going is secrecy and shame and silence. Those 3. And that's literally what was happening in that moment. Like, they were doing all these tests and you're probably like, we don't even need to do this right now.
So during the test,
the shame was keeping you quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, during the test you weren't. Okay. So, but even after that, you kept it quiet.
Quiet. Like, they're saying, like, what? Did you drink something? Did you take a drug? Did you, like, trying to figure out? I'm like, no, we drank last night. Because mind you, they were at the house too. Because they were trying to figure out, did somebody drink something to drink or something? Like, how did this happen?
Yeah. So when did they finally figure it out? Or like, when did you finally maybe say something? Was it after you were discharged?
To the doctors or to everybody else?
The doctors. We'll start there. Yeah.
Doctors never knew. Dehydration is what I went out with, and close to renal failure. It never went medical. Never.
Okay. What did you tell your mom? Yeah.
My mom knew. So I think everybody ended up knowing, but nobody said nothing until I told them. So they found the empty bottles in my room, the empty pill bottles.
Okay.
So they told my mom that. Briggs, because he talks about it to this day. He's like, I already knew. I knew. He said, I just wasn't going to say nothing till you said something. So all of them knew, but I didn't tell them till later on. I told my mom on that ride back.
Yeah. Because you came back to Virginia.
Yes, I came straight back to Virginia.
And I feel like I was there. What year was this?
12? December. I know.
Okay, I'm about to say.
Right before winter break.
So, I was home. Yeah. So I was home because I remember coming to the house. Okay. So how did you feel knowing that they knew? Because they had found the evidence, right?
I didn't know they knew till later on.
No, but I'm saying when they later told you, when they later told you, like, we kind of saw it and we kind of figured, but they didn't treat you differently. Like, how did you feel?
That's like, I was like, real? That's real. That's
That's
real.
real what?
Like, that's real. Like, they let me be. They didn't bother me. Nobody, like my
To
mom.
let you
So my
come to
mom
them. Mhm.
was the one that not bothered me, but she was like, she's more so like, if anything, even to this day, I gotta tell her, I'm good. Like, if
Mhm.
death happens in the family, like she'll call, like try to make sure I'm good, because I don't take death well.
Mhm.
So, but not like to the point where I want to hurt myself, but it's just like, dang,
It's hard. Yeah.
yeah, especially young deaths. So she'll be like, "You good?
Mhm.
You need anything? Like you, I just checking on you." And my mom does fake checks. Like I could be in a bad mood, my mom will call. I'm like, "Dang, did she feel sense?" She's like, "I don't know. Something told me to
Moms
call."
have direct lines to Jesus. I'm convinced because Donna be calling me at the right wrong time. But anyway,
And then I'm trying to think when I told Paris. Um, I'm not sure when I told Paris. Thank you. Not sure when I told Paris, but I'm trying to think when I told. So the fellas, when I told them, like Bert was the first person I told because he's like me, like into like mental health now. Like that's just what we talk about now. Jock,
mm-hmm.
all them. Like it's crazy. Like all of us, me, you, like all of us got
Mm-hmm.
into like that field, the
Mental health. Yeah.
social studies.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just like, it's cool. Like it happens. Like it happens. We weren't gonna treat you no different. Like
Mm-hmm.
it happens. We understood what you were going through because all he knew he knew like what I was going through because like I would tell him like because we were both
Yeah.
ROTC together. Like he
Yeah.
legit was making me stay on his couch to wake me up for ROTC in the morning because he was like they're gonna kick you out if you don't go. So you're gonna stay at my house and I'm gonna
He was
take
like, I
care of
want to
you.
see you make
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna make sure you win. Yeah.
Truly, even to this day, one of my biggest outside of Paris and my family, like Burke is probably one of my greatest supporters. Like for
Yeah.
like anything
I
I
love
do,
that.
he makes sure
He's
he
there.
shows love. Yes.
Okay. I love that. So that's evidence that they didn't, even though your mind and your thoughts, and that's what happens, like, right, we have what's called like cognitive distortions
Yep.
or irrational thoughts. Our brain is telling us one thing, and although it's valid, because how you feel is valid, it's not always based in reality. And so the fact that your mom, what she did is just want to embrace you and make sure she continues to check on you, pull you closer to her, right? No matter what was going on, no matter about those choices, they pulled you closer. That disconfirmed all of those thoughts that you were having, like, I'm going to let them down. I'm disappointing them. I shouldn't be here. It'll be better if I wasn't here. All of that was disconfirmed by everyone kind of letting you know, no, this is not going to be something we shame you for or make you
Hmm.
feel bad about. And if anything, we're going to love on you even harder and make sure that you're good and make sure that you don't have to be a certain way
Yeah.
in order for us to see you as successful. Of course, they want you to win. Like you said, Burke was like, you need to get your butt up and so you can come to ROTC. But that is not where your worth lies. Your worth lies in who you are to them.
Correct. Correct.
And
That's something
so,
I had to learn later. I learned later.
yeah, yeah. How is it now with you? And you mentioned like at that point, Paris was mad before she knew everything that was going
Yeah.
on. Hey, Paris. And so, what was that conversation for you all like? Because I think and I'm asking because when it comes to partnership and romantic relationships, a lot of times that is where the space where you probably feel the most vulnerable, but you also sometimes feel like you have to hide the most because you don't want to
Scare him off.
scare them off or seem weak or seem like you can't handle the weight of being, what Black men sometimes, but depending on their beliefs, are in that role of protector, provider, the traditional leader, all of that stuff. So what was that conversation like between you two?
I'm trying to think when I like told her straight up. I want to
Mm-hmm.
say Paul had already told her, like
Okay.
gave her a heads up. But when I
Mm-hmm.
told her, she embraced me. Like that's just her character. She's a nurturer,
Mm-hmm.
so she embraced me. Like you good.
Mm-hmm.
Like we gonna thug this out as straight. Like
Yeah.
plan B. Let's figure something else out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this was around December, so it was winter break. So you were home. What was it like going back to school after this experience? Because everything that led up to this was like, all right, I'd made all these dumb choices. Like, I can't believe this. Like, I'm letting everybody one down. Now we're home. We're seeing that that's not the case. Like, people don't feel that way. And then it's time to go back to school.
I
What
went
was
back
that
for a
like?
little bit and then I was done.
Mm-hmm.
I came back home. I was like, yeah, I can't
Yeah.
do this. I couldn't
Yeah.
because I knew there was no coming back and meeting the goal that I wanted. I was like, I got to
Mm-hmm.
do something different. So that's when I came up with
Mm-hmm.
my plan B. So I
Mm-hmm.
ended up leaving and going active duty enlisted.
Mm-hmm.
So did my enlisted time, freaking finished my bachelor's,
Mm-hmm.
got my master's, and I went to OCS, 2021, and now I'm an officer. So
Mm-hmm.
everything that I wanted, got now. It's just timing, God's timing. I was just trying to rush God.
I was just about to say
So everything's
there's a lesson in this for someone who's maybe in that same space, who feels like, especially college is hard. College is a tough season. Your 20s in general, it's just
you're trying to figure out yourself.
ghetto. Yeah. You're trying to figure out a lot about yourself. Where do I belong in the world? What is my purpose? Am I doing the right thing? All while still trying to, enjoy life. And so if someone was like listening to this, right, and they're like, yo, I felt the same exact way, or I didn't know who I could talk to, or anything, if they just relate to your story in general, what would you tell them that you feel like you needed to hear back then that you didn't?
Life goes on. Like, roll with the punches and hunt the good
Mm-hmm.
stuff. The biggest thing is hunt the
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. It's a resilience
Mm-hmm.
tool we use in the army. Hunt the good stuff. Basically,
Okay.
uh, there could be a lot going wrong around you, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to think about the gratitude. You got to show gratitude about the good things that's coming from. Like, example, I'm I'm in traffic for work.
Right.
I'm pissed because I'm in traffic, but instead of being pissed about the traffic, oh, this is time for me to let me make a call somebody I ain't spoke to in a minute and check on them. Like
Mm-hmm.
using that
Mm-hmm.
gratitude. So think
Yeah.
about hunt the good stuff. Don't,
Yeah.
it ain't all bad. I mean, I can't say that because
Yeah.
to some people it may be. So, and I've learned
Mm-hmm.
that too. Like what may be small to us is big to
Yeah.
others, but hunt the good stuff and you'll be all right.
Yeah. I like that. Hunt the good stuff. Maybe that should be the title of the episode. Hunt the good stuff. Because that's an army thing, y'all say?
Yes, it's a resiliency tool.
Resiliency tool. Okay. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
No
So
problem.
so I want to ask this too. How are you maintaining your mental health nowadays?
Exercise. My boys,
Mm-hmm.
I got purpose. Like I don't got time to be. I don't have the space or time to
And when you
be
say
sad.
boys, you mean
My
sons.
my
Yes.
sons, yeah, my three boys, yeah. My wife,
Mm-hmm.
like I got purpose. Like I'm I'm pur- I know I have a purpose now. Like it's not blurry or anything to me. So I have something to live for. So they keep me going. Like there's nothing. That moment in life, the attempt really changed my
Mm-hmm.
perspective on anything. Like nothing. I really try not to get upset about anything because life's not that
Mm-hmm.
bad to me. To me, life's not that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
There's two.
Or it hasn't.
It
Uh-huh.
hasn't. There's to me. There's two choices. Like because everybody's gonna have these like rock bottom moments, and there's two choices you can have. You can either crack under pressure like an egg, which I did, or you can bounce like a ball and be
Mm-hmm.
resilient. So I just try to live like this resilient life now. Like that's like my biggest thing. Like that's what my cognate was for my master's counseling with a cognate and resiliency.
Yeah. I love that. Resiliency is a good word too. I like that. So having purpose, looking forward to things that you're going to do with your family, knowing that you're loved, all of those are protective factors. But in general, just knowing that you're worthy and valuable no matter what you accomplish or achieve, right? like you said, everything that you were thinking you wanted to do, although it was delayed, you were still able to get there. The path was just different. You took a detour, clearly, but you still were able to achieve, and even more. Because I'm thinking about when you were in college and we would be talking, like, of course, being in the military, being in the army, being an officer, because we were supposed to graduate commission. So being an officer, getting your degree, now you've got another degree, becoming Greek. So you were able to, even this year, cross Omega Psi Phi, Coleman Live. I feel like there are so many things that you were able to still do that is also a testament to patience and trusting God's timing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Because God knew that day was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love you and I'm proud of you.
I love you too, Teka. Thank you. I'm proud of you. You're doing your
Yes.
thing. Got the show. Okay. Okay. Show. Okay. Show.
You still. No, but for real, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, if you're listening, I hope you've taken a deep breath by now, because that can be a lot to listen to, even just thinking about in your own life. So do an audit, ask yourself, am I practicing gratitude? Am I trying to hunt the good stuff, or am I just focusing on the bad? Because even though it's bad right now, that's not all that's going on. You can find some good, even if it's one thing. All right. All right, y'all. Well, let's move into our next segment, which is our gratitude segment. Speaking of gratitude, and that is gift. If you listen to the podcast, you know what we're about to do. G is for goal or gratitude. I is for intention. F is for focus or faith. And T is for take action. And so this gratitude practice, you can do it every day. You can do it once a week. You can do it just when you listen to the podcast. But I just want to encourage you to practice gratitude. So, Mr. Norman,
Yes.
what is your G? Are you going to do gratitude or goal?
Let's do gratitude. Gratitude.
All right. What's your gratitude?
Grateful for the opportunity to come on here and share my story with you and your audience.
Yes.
To still be here to do that.
Yes. To still be here to tell your story. Amen. What's your I, your intention?
Intention is to continue to share my story to where it may help somebody else that may be feeling the same type of way, to be intentional with sharing it and not keeping it to myself, because what good would that do?
Exactly. And every time you share your story, I feel like you're kind of like dismantling or pulling down that wall or that brick or that monument of comparison.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So I encourage you to keep doing that. What's your F? Are you going to do faith or focus?
Faith.
Okay. What's your faith?
Let's do focus.
What's your focus?
My focus right now is to get on these certs. I got to get me some more of these IT certs. I feel like I gotta get back on my grind. I feel like I started getting everything, then I plateaued.
Yeah.
I need to get back on my grind, start getting hungry again. So I need to shift my focus to that.
Okay. And then what is your take action? So how do you want to kind of all that you've just shared, what's the next step that you want to do? Take action.
Take action. I tried to find one out here, but you have to out here a lot of places to speak at, because I don't want to share my story to, especially to teenage males that may be going through the same thing. But I gotta find like another platform to where I can share my story. Probably go to UTEP and figure out like the Black community there, because a lot of it here you have to be bilingual because of where I'm at. So I couldn't do it at the detention centers or in the group home because they need bilingual. But I'll probably go to UTEP and try to figure it out.
Okay. Well, I encourage you to continue to share. And if you can't find anywhere, create your own platform.
All I needed was a platform.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Well, I love it. So I'll go next. My gratitude is similar to what you said. My gratitude is that you're still here today. I think that, like you said earlier when we introduced it, we've been through a lot of different seasons, and there's been seasons where we've been really close and others when we've been, just distant, and not by any type of malice, but just life.
Life.
But either way, I'm always going to have love for you. So I'm very glad that you're here. My intention is to not let shame, silence, or secrecy speak louder than the truth that I know that God says about me. I feel like that is one thing that can make shame and secrecy and silence kind of grow bigger, is when you don't know the truth, when you don't remember the truth. You may even know it. It may be deep, 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 deep down in your heart. And sometimes we forget. And so remembering the truth. My faith or focus. My faith is to continue to have faith and trust God's timing, because I know I'd be looking at my watch like, hello, I was expecting this to be done a couple of years ago. And then my take action. My take action is to continue to go on to my therapist. I'm a therapist who has a therapist. And so focusing and really prioritizing mental health, not just for other people, but for myself too. It's okay for us to, be like, I need to take care of myself too. So that's my take action.
Indeed.
All right. So if you're listening, make sure that you also practice your gift. All right. So the last segment of the podcast is one of my favorites. That is Vibe Tunes ATM, Vibe Tunes at the Moment. And this is just when we share songs, music that's, what something we're vibing out to. Doesn't even have to be related to the topic of the podcast, but if it is, very cool. Or just a song that, maybe it's new and you're like, I really like this. I can relate to it. So for you, Norman, what is something that you've been listening to lately? What's your vibe tune?
Anything King George. I like King George. I just like
Who's King George?
Oh my goodness.
Don't judge me. We're not doing shame anymore, okay?
I'm sorry. King George, can't stay too long. I gotta keep moving. My girl, she waiting. You don't know King George?
I just wanted you to keep singing.
I know you've heard of plenty of his songs, like Keep On Rolling, all them songs. That's him.
Probably, if I listen to it, I probably know who you're talking about. So anything King George, is there a specific song?
Just King George in general.
Just King George in general. Okay.
It's a new artist I've been listening to. I like him. Caleb Shoemake, he a young guy out of Detroit.
Okay.
He's good. I'm not.
How you spell his last name?
Shumake.
Okay, Shoemake. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I listen to just oldies. I'm not
young. Such an old soul.
I'm young and hip.
You're such an old soul. Okay. Please stop. Y'all. All right. See, this is why I didn't want to have I'm playing. He's acting up. Okay, so I don't know either of those artists, but if you do, y'all know where to look for them. They'll be on the playlist on YouTube. My Vibe Tunes ATM, my Vibe Tunes at the moment, and it's so funny that we're talking about God's timing and how we identify those mercy moments and how no matter what choices you make, God did not give up on you. He was like, you may be giving up on you, but I'm not going to give up on you. So let me go ahead and just keep putting up these barriers to you trying to do something that I know is not a part of my plan for you. So my song, and this song has had me wrecked for the last week. It's a song, it's called On Time God, and it's by Woman Evolve Worship, Woman Evolve is the kind of movement that Sarah Jakes Roberts, TD Jakes' daughter, leads, and it's kind of an extension of Woman Thou Art Loose. But anyway, On Time God by Woman Evolve Worship with Chandler Moore of Maverick City and Abby Gamboa. I think that's how you say her last name. It's a 10-minute song. and I be snotting for 10 minutes. So I love that song.
Praise.
Huh? Listen, worship. I had to keep my eyes open in the car. I said, I need to turn the song off because I can't drive. But then on the other end of the spectrum, another song I'm really liking right now. So Diddy released an album. I think is it Love Off the Grid or Off the Grid or whatever? And there's a song, it's called Bosses in Love. It's with Diddy and Nova Wave. I really like that song too. Because I feel like, a lot of my friends and even my own, intended, we're all just making a lot of moves that I'm very proud of us for. And being a boss doesn't mean you have to be making a certain amount of money or have a certain amount of exposure or fame or whatever. But it means that you are really just clear about who you are, what your purpose is, and you're walking in it confidently. So I'm proud of all of my friends. But yeah, Bosses in Love is another song that I'm enjoying.
Gotta check that out.
You got to check out the whole album. It's so good. It's not safe for work, though, or for children. Okay, y'all. So I really enjoyed having you on the podcast today, though, Norman. Thank you for answering the call, for being willing to do this on a day. I know it's a Saturday down in El Paso, Texas. But yeah, I really appreciate you sharing.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So throughout his vulnerability and his sharing, I'm sure a lot of you who are listening or watching have learned a lot. And so if you enjoyed what you heard today on the podcast, make sure that you rate, comment, subscribe, leave reviews on all those platforms. That makes sure that the stories can reach those who it's aligned in purpose to reach. Alrighty. So I want to say, is there anything that you feel like I should have asked that I didn't ask, Norman?
You're good to go on this.
Nope. We're good. All right. Well, thank you all for listening and watching Here We Are, the Mindful Podcast for Millennials. Let's connect on Facebook and Instagram, Here We Are Podcast with Teka, or the Here We Are Pod. And of course, we're on YouTube as well. Email us at theherewearepod@gmail.com. And remember that your story can inspire someone else or even save a life. Take care.